My crazy UK prison stories part 2B. Before I start, I want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, NordVPN. If you're thinking about security online, then I'm only joking. Let's get straight into this. Number 3, Grebo. My first cellmate at HMP Leicester was a local lad named Grebo. I would have been about 21 at the time and he would have been about 32, 33. He looked like a shorter, slightly darker haired Chris Moyles. He'd been in and out of prison for his whole life and was addicted to crack. His life evolved around crack. He thought about crack in the morning, midday, afternoon and night time. As I mentioned in my first video, you will come across many drug addicts in prison and you'll be offered drugs on much more than one occasion. As drug addicts are always on the hunt for more drugs, they tend to stick together and help each other out. One of the main ways drugs are smuggled into prison is in the backsides of new inmates. You can make a lot of money selling drugs in prison as they're worth so much more inside than they are on the out. Drug addicts and also non-drug addicts who know they're about to enter prison sometimes ensure that they have what's called a parcel already inside of them before they attend court. This is normally drugs wrapped in cling film and is placed inside somewhere the sun doesn't shine. Some people even put weapons or phones inside them. Though some prisons now have a special chair that new prisoners have to sit in which detects metal inside of their body. If any item is detected, then a prisoner is put into an isolated cell alone for however many days it takes for the item to be handed in or the prisoner to have gotten rid of it another way. You can get phones now so small that people can wrap them in a condom and swallow them before going into prison. Don't believe me?
Drop it in the Durex.
Right, let's have a look at it. Bring it up close. What's that? A mobile phone, yeah?
Danko fly.
Yeah.
Wrapped in cling film.
Alright.
Wrap it in another Durex.
Show them the Durex. Yeah, okay. Are you sure you can do this, Nick? Because...
Listen, you're recording me.
Are you sure you're alright, yeah? I haven't told you to do this, so... This is all you're
This is
doing.
just in one Durex.
Alright.
There, didn't even need a drink for it.
What?
Bring it up close here, let's have a look.
Oh, go on.
Shall I ring it now?
Right, well, come on.
Is it off?
You owe me a fiver, mate.
Let's have a look again.
Give me another one, I'll follow another one. Not a issue.
Show them phones then.
Yeah.
Right, come and get them from Danny's. £25.
Or Danko B.
Danko B, yeah.
Anyway, with Grebo as my cellmate, I would have to share a cell with him smoking crack every day and night. I remember the strange smell of it and it just became something I got used to. He would often offer some to me. Did I consider it? Of course I considered it. I was locked up with no real friends or family. I was miles away from home with no hope of being released anytime soon, feeling really down with nothing to look forward to or feel I had to live for. Did I try it? No. I'm so glad that I didn't cave in. I've seen some really nice people ruin their life because of the drug. However, I can totally understand why many people try it and get addicted while they're in prison. One day, Grebo and his crew heard news that a particular person was coming into the prison. This person was another addict who was often in and out of the system. Either they had a tip-off that would be bringing in a parcel, or they just knew him well enough to know that he would have one already inside of him. When the cell doors opened for prisoners to collect their breakfast, Grebo and his mates slyly snuck to the new guy's cell before he could leave and proceeded to beat him and stamp on his head until he was unconscious. Once the guy was knocked out, they pulled down his bottoms and his boxers, and Grebo stuck his fingers inside the guy and dug around until he was able to find and retrieve the parcel they'd been looking for. They left the guy on the floor unconscious with his bottoms pulled down and came back to the cell laughing. They opened the parcel that they had obtained and split the drugs between them as they boasted about what they'd just done and reenacted it to each other. I was thinking, oh my god, but to everyone else, is just another day in prison. Number 4. In the last crazy prison stories video, I mentioned that I had a story about a female that I didn't want to tell because it was so unbelievable. Unfortunately, some of my subscribers have remembered what I said and requested it, so here it is. So, I was coming to the end of my sentence. I had about a month and a half left. If you serve quite a bit of time inside, instead of simply throwing you back into society, you are often moved to a Cat D prison. This has the least amount of security in comparison to other categories of prison. You are allowed a lot more freedom, and they even allow you to go home for a day here and there once a month or so. Well, I was in HMP Sudbury. I remember Ronnie O'Sullivan's dad had just recently left the wing I was on. My 2 boys there were from London and another one was from West Midlands. I lived not too far away and had friends on the outside just a few miles away. Well, my boys were always thirsty for women. At the time, I didn't have a mobile phone, but one of my boys from London did. He had started chatting to some girl from Birmingham on this phone. His name was Remy. He had already served around 7 years for, I think it was gun crime. He looked like the twin of Asher D. I think he had maybe a couple of years left. I remember that before he went in, he used to date that girl Ashlyn from Big Brother. Anyway, by the way, if this video ever gets back to Remy, Tong, Grebo, be sure to reach out in the comments. So, Remy told me one day that he was going to try and sneak a girl into the prison. I was like, bro, how are you going to do that? He went on to say that so many women walk in and out of the prison each day that it would be possible. He was talking about teachers, admin assistants, catering, police, inspectors. He thought if he could get the girl to come in dressed as a boy and bring a bag for her smart clothes, she would walk in without question and should walk out without question as well. He said he bet it had never been done before, and why not give it a go? Remember, this was a Cat D prison, and it didn't have the same security that Cat A, B or C prison would have. I'm going to show you an actual picture of the front of this prison so you can see how simple it is for someone to walk in and out. As people are coming to the end of a sentence in Cat D prison, it makes no sense to run away, though it does happen sometimes. I remember on each billboard they had a selection of photos of different prisoners. The photos would say something like, "Meet Sam Parrish." Sam Parrish was serving 3 years, and on the last month of his sentence he escaped. He was captured the next day and is now serving an additional year and a half in a Cat A prison in Nottingham. Or it might say, "Meet Fred Hampton." He was serving 2 months for a driving offence, ran away on his first week and is now serving an additional year in a B Cat prison. These constant reminders help let you know that it is pretty pointless trying to escape. I said to Remy, if that's what you want to do, then I'm with you, no risk to me. A few days later, he was ready. For some unknown reason, the girl had agreed to do it. On the day, she got a train to the area, and using Remy's phone, I had to meet one of my friends on the outside. My friend helped to get near the prison, and at a certain time, we all went to our set places. I was to distract the guards on one end of the prison. I had another inmate work on a different end of the prison, and a third on the front desk. Not being bad, but being loud enough to capture the officer's full attention and allow the girl to walk in unchallenged. So, I'm doing my thing at the end of the prison. I have no phone and no way to know what's going on. After about 15 minutes, I know that it must be over. Either she's been caught or she's in a prison safely. I walk back to Remy's wing, I go to his cell, open the door, and there is his back to me on his bed doing the girl from behind. I was startled. I apologised, laughing. He just turns to me with the biggest smile on his face. This guy had not touched a woman for 7 years. Anyway, I left him to it and went back to my cell. Around 20 minutes later, I come back to his cell, open the door and I go in. They're both chatting and chilling with an extra guy now. I sit with them and chat to the girl. She wasn't the best looking, she also wasn't the worst, just your average girl. Now, I also hadn't been with a girl for a long time, about a year and a half. So to me, she was beautiful. I gave the guy the look which meant leave us. And once they did, I ended up having some alone time with her myself. I forget what we spoke about, but it must have been really exciting, as I remember feeling really good when I left, with a great weight off my shoulders. The girl ended up staying the night on that wing. When the officers came to check the cells, she just hid under the bed. The next day, she put her good clothes on and casually walked out the prison like it was nothing. I couldn't believe that we'd gotten away with it. It was the talk of the prison for a long time, as you can imagine. I have no clue why she would do what she did. She must not have known the risks. Either way, it's something she will never forget. I suppose it's also a story she can never tell anyone because no one's going to believe her. Now, I may have left some details out about what I actually remember talking to her about, but that story, just like every other one of my stories, is 100% true. Anyway, that's all from me today. On my next upload, I've decided to do a video all about the psychology of prison, what it does to your head, being caged up like an animal, surrounded by people who don't give a toss about you and are going through the exact same problems. Now, quick note before I go. I know I have a very small group of loyal, committed subscribers who comment and like all of my videos. Trust me, I love all of you. If I haven't put a love heart next to your comment, it's only because your username doesn't give me the option to do that. I'm constantly being asked for more and more content. Now, the list on my phone of everything I want to talk about, I always write ideas down, and I've done it for the last 5 or so years. I have so much content to discuss in regards to crime, prisons, the law, life after prison, my own court case, my own crimes. The thing is that yesterday I had to take a whole day off work just to do that one video, as a recording and images take so long. Now, I know I joked at the start of the video when I pretended that we had a sponsor, but YouTube demonetized me a long time ago, and I'm not big enough for any of the sponsors to care about my little crappy channel. For this reason, I've set up a Patreon. I doubt any of you will join, but if enough of you do, so that I can make enough to cover a day off a month, then my uploads can be a lot more frequent, and you won't have to wait months or years for an upload like you normally do. So yeah, if you want more and think my content is worth the price of a McDonald's milkshake each month, then please join. I'll also be uploading exclusive content to Patreon. Over there, I'll be able to upload much more, as there'll be more of me speaking directly to the camera with only a few images and talking to you guys about the subjects you guys want me to discuss. Also, I've been thinking about whether or not to set up a YouTube live. Would any of you mans be interested if I ever did that one evening? Let me know, and be sure to check out my Patreon. Peace.